Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Game Over Vancouver for the first episode of the 2024-25 season. I'm Kaja Antic, and I'm here with Conrad Krausert for Game Over Calgary, as well as Zach Clark, another fresh face for the Vancouver market. Um, so Conrad, if you want to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about yourself, Game Over Calgary for a bit, just a little bit about of how you came to Game Over.
For those of you who have been around the block back when with the previous network affiliation, I was always in chat, so I've gone from constant chatter to welcoming myself to this team, and I'm not the only one who's recently joined. Anand and Matt are two other new faces joining Peter Klein as a return, and Audie spelling my name wrong in chat. I'd love to see it. But yeah, we're a bunch of new fresh faces, a lot of guys who love this Flames team. Didn't love our Flames first period. None of us did, I can tell you that for free. But yeah, just excited to be here and excited to get out of Twitch chat and onto the screen.
All right, and we're also joined by Zach Clark, who is one of our new um, Vancouver affiliated members, if you couldn't tell by the jerseys behind him. Zach, do you want to
Yeah,
talk a little bit
absolutely.
about?
I'm so excited to be joining the Game Over Vancouver team. Obviously, I didn't enjoy our second and third periods, but I'm very excited for what should be a great Canucks season. I myself work in Vancouver radio for the Sportsnet 650 station as an operator, as well as being a play-by-play broadcaster for junior hockey teams among the Lower Mainland. So super excited to get things going and talk about an eventful hockey game tonight.
Oh, and eventful it definitely was. Before we get into running down what just happened, um, I'm going to give a little shout out to our friends over at Hyperdrive Hockey, which, if you don't know, is the flagship show for the Game Over Network. We have two amazing hosts running it. A lot of Star Wars references. If you know me, you know I love a good Star Wars reference. Um, I mean, I have it literally in my skin, so like I kind of have to. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be a great time. Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network channel, main channel. This is the Game Over Vancouver channel, but on the Game Over Network main channel, you could find it. Just search Game Over Network, you'll find it. With Max and Daphne. Um, Amazing show. Personally, 10 out of 10. Love it. Love their energy. Love what's going on over there. And yeah, you should definitely check it out. Also available in podcast forms. Yeah, let's get into talking about the game. Cause that was it was certainly something that happened. It was certainly a hockey game. Let's just put it that way. Um
I
and
can tell you at the start, I wasn't a big fan of how this game was going.
well, personally I was. Well, not exactly initially at the start, but with Sprong, Daniel Sprong scored the first goal for the Vancouver Canucks on in for the season.
Power play marker with 1 second remaining on the power play.
I was so surprised that it was like a proper actual Daniel Sprong shot, because like pretty much what we've seen from Daniel Sprong in the preseason and everything, or even earlier in the game, he was like kept just stick handling. Like he was in alone earlier in the first before he scored, and he's just stick handling. It reminds me of like Kuzmenko, but like not in a good way. Um, like Kuzmenko, like pre March 31st, 2023. Um, I have to remember what years. Mark, who's another one of our Game Over Vancouver people, just said one of the hockey games of all time. I completely agree. The first period was absolutely amazing for the Vancouver Canucks. For the Flames, it was a different story, wasn't it, Conrad?
Yeah, it certainly was, but the Flames power or penalty kill was just way too soft throughout the whole first period. On that Sprong marker, like I just had written down like Vladar has no vision, but let's also have it said we had an agreement in kind of our private chats that likely should not have been a Canucks power play in the first place. I don't know how there was the double minor handed out in the scrum, how it wasn't just kind of evened out in the wash like you see in a lot of early season hockey games. But, refs will rule how they do, and there's no such thing as a makeup call in hockey. Never, not even once. Refs are infallible, right? But yeah, it was good opportunity taken there.
They're
And it didn't stop at one.
oh no. They're gonna come find you and fine you $25,000 just for saying that on a podcast.
The maximum allowable under the CBA.
Yeah, you could like you could like completely like knock a guy out if you're Arbor Jack guy and get fined like what, 3 grand, but you criticize the refs and okay, it's a whole other thing. But yeah, it was not the only one. Brock Besser, the next power play. It was an awesome play. I was a little bit skeptical when they said that Jake DeBrusk was going to be like kind of net front-ish on the power play. Worked out perfectly for here. And then Garland with the Vladar having no mask that the Flames didn't like. We will discuss that rule after later in the show. And then Anthony Mantha had a shorthanded breakaway. And then Brock Besser scored another. Which was also Quinn Hughes' 291st assist, passing Dennis Kearns as the second place for all-time defensive assists.
And was the first completed Gordillo hat trick. Or no, because that would have been the shorthanded. Yeah.
Yeah, because Anthony Mantha.
Yeah, because Mantha's was first, I think. But how often do we have games where there's two?
Yeah.
And also kind of a fun little stat that I found, courtesy of Ryan Pike here in Calgary. That was actually the 60th recorded Gordie Howe hat trick in Calgary Flames history. So
breaking records all over the place. JT Miller also his 800th game. Zach, what did you think of the first period overall, and then how do you think it all fell apart?
Well, by the end of the first, celebrating. My feet are kicked back. I'm going to make myself some hot chocolate. Second and third, it deteriorated fast. I thought the first period, we had a lot of really good looks. I was quite concerned about our power play unit heading into this year. Our first unit was pretty decent, but not amazing last year, given the amount of talent we have on this team. So I wanted to see it be really great. And I thought that overall that power play in the first did look great. The shorthanded goal by Mantha was a bit of a miscommunication. Also a little unlucky when he came out of the box right as they're trying to get that seam pass right back to the defender. Overall, though, I liked what I saw from the special teams. Second and third, I mean, I have no idea. In my notes, I have written down complacency question mark because it wasn't necessarily that I thought they stopped trying as much. So much as just everything was not going well. The passes weren't connecting. They weren't necessarily finishing their checks as hard as they were before. I thought that the game got a lot less scrappy in the second period, and that seemed to really backfire on Vancouver as opposed to the first period. So honestly, I couldn't pinpoint one thing that went wrong. It seems like just everything fell apart at once for the Canucks. There wasn't a single line that I thought looked really definitively good in the second period.
And one,
yeah.
I apologize. And there was one person who was really dangerous in the first, and then was absolutely invisible for you guys. Where I had it written down. Teddy Bluger. Bluger. In the first period, he kept getting behind the Flames defense, and it really caused a lot of struggles, especially for Brendan Pahal. But after the first, didn't see him at all.
I feel like that was the issue for a lot of the Canucks, though, too. Is like they showed up in the first and then went to lunch. Like, I have no idea where they were. Did they go, like, go up to Panago, get a piece of pizza, like, go through the motions of that? Like, no, you're supposed to be playing the game. That's part of it.
They went to the Costco nearby to go get the dollar hot
Yes,
dog.
that's even better. Like Elias Pettersson, you're getting paid a bajillion dollars. You don't need the Costco hot dog. That like you need to finish the game first, sir. Anyway, the second period was so just like the Flames were kind of running the show for the Canucks, and I'm surprised they only got away with that one goal from Rasmus Andersson. But then the floodgates opened in the third.
Can I just jump in there? My God, the Flames had 3 power plays by my count in the second period, and they produced 0 opportunities. That is a big red flag for me as a Flames fan right now, is how abysmal our special teams look when we're up a man. The penalty kill was better after the first.
Yeah. Well, considering the penalties, do you want me to list them all off for just the first period?
Not really, but I can see you're
We'll
gonna
be here
do it
till
anyway.
midnight.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's just in the first. There were 13 penalties total. There's 2 more for the rest of the
Yeah.
game. So I don't know if the
So-
refs got a talking to, like, in between periods of like, hey, tone it down.
So
Much
maybe
like
that's
the
why.
Canucks, the refs slowed down in the second and third.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I don't recall the Flames penalty kill getting better, is because they didn't have to go on it again for the next 2 periods. Maybe my brain's just not working.
That
I
may...
blame the fact I had a midterm today.
Oh, good luck. I have one tomorrow morning. I'm not surviving. If anyone has
No.
physics advice, please let me know. This is not a hockey stat, it's a cry for help. Anyway. Overall, yeah, the third period just it was awful. Like I liked the images you sent in our little Game Over has a Discord, please check it out. Conrad's sending these images of the Calgary Flames dog, whose name I cannot remember.
Harvey the Hound.
Harvey the Hound, thank you. I was gonna say Sparky, but I'm like, I feel like that makes more sense though, right?
Yeah. Harvey is the oldest mascot in the NHL. How can we not remember his name?
Because I'm not old. I don't know.
That's fair. I'm the oldest one in this chat. I keep forgetting that.
I really like the image of just him getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm just like, oh wow. Casey Elizabeth said it just got way less physical in the second and third. I could see that. Kind of. I don't know. I mean, Höglander was still being a menace in the third, but
And my response to that is the Flames are not a skilled team. Shouldn't that, like, me and Peter, like, if you listen to our preseason wrap up, we were pretty obvious that the Flames are not a skilled team that are going to beat people with skill. We should be the ones benefiting from slowing the game down, bringing it into the trenches. But if it got less physical, that shouldn't have led for things to change in the benefit of the Flames.
yeah. It seemed a lot like the Uyghur and Huberdeau goals, or was it the Pospisil and Uyghur goals? 2 of them were like very far from the net, and I made like the comment. I don't know if it was on our Discord or if it was
Yes,
like
it was.
Okay, it was like Sheloves needs to wear his glasses in like when he's playing. I've seen goalies do it. I see in beer league, obviously. Zach, are you worried for the next like month until Demko is supposedly all right?
A little bit. I think it was one thing that it was interesting we heard a lot in the offseason and even in the playoffs is that Shelovs really struggles with screens. Obviously, screening a goaltender is tough, but there's other goaltenders in this league. I'm going to use Vasilevsky as an example that can read through screens really, really well. And I just have yet to see even basics from Shelovs in that. So I think that scared me a little bit because yeah, those outer shots, moving screens in front, that's a really common kind of play in this league. And if he struggles with that to that degree, I think that we're going to see kind of similar goals. And teams at this league, they're going to watch video on that and they're going to expose his weaknesses. And I just think that one's kind of a glaring one. I am interested to see how Lankinen looks. I wouldn't say that I'm worried. I do think Shelovs is a good netminder and he'll work on it with goaltending coach, but it didn't look great tonight, I will be honest. I thought that there was a couple Calgary Flames goals where they might not necessarily be the goaltender's fault, but I think Demko makes those saves.
Yeah.
Can I offer you one lightly used Dan Vladar who has a season that's on his contract at the trade deadline?
Well, it wouldn't be, Flames and Canucks do love to trade with each other, but
Recently, only recently.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I like there are so many trades last year that they made with the Flames, and none of them included Chris Tanev. I'll never forgive Patrick Allvin for that.
You are a 40-year-old Toronto Maple Leaf.
Congratulations, former Canuck defenseman, you.
Yeah.
Tanev, OEL.
OEL, who looked great on that breakaway tonight.
Anyway, I'm not gonna scream. JT Miller is a beast. That's what I'm gonna say about that tie-in goal. I was sitting here and I'm like trying to set up the stream too, and I'm like watching one screen at here, and I'm like, oh wow, he tied it, and then overtime. It was just overtime. I say that and I'm like, Conrad, congratulations on knowing what puck possession is.
Yeah, that was great. And Connor Zary, you asked in our private chat, who is Connor Zary? And I don't know if you're joking on that, but like there was a legitimate case for him to go in. He was in the Rookie of the Year conversation until he got hurt. So
Yeah,
he is
had, what, 14 goals?
Yeah, 14 goals in his rookie season, and now getting elevated to playing on the wing with Nazem Kadri. Like, this is an up and coming, I'm not going to call him a star, but a person of prevalence in this Flames lineup. So get to know the name.
I was about to say person of interest, but that's a crime thing.
Yeah, I actually had to look up whether or not he was still eligible for the Calder because I know he didn't play that many games last year, but both him and Coronato aren't, which is a shame because I think both of them would be in the running if they were eligible. I think the Flames young guys are the bright spots on this team. I think where it falls off is the longer term deals that you have signed, but the young guys, so impressive tonight. I mean, obviously Zary in overtime getting all the glitz and the glamour, but I thought just a lot of the young guys had really solid evenings. Pospisil looked great too. The young guys really stood out tonight. Where I thought some new players didn't stand out were the Canucks' fourth line barely saw the ice for the last half of the game. From the halfway mark of the second, both Sprong and Ratu barely touched the ice till about halfway through the third.
Yeah, and it was a big deal that Ratu made the lineup as well for the Canucks because it was kind of also Pia Suter didn't make an appearance for the Canucks tonight. Not sure if that's injury related, but I believe he was a late scratch as well. And yeah, there's a big deal about like, are they bringing up Atu Ratu? Are they bringing up Arshdeep Bains? That was another name, and Bains eventually was the one that lost out in the young guy category. And yeah, like you said, they weren't there for the last half of the game. I don't know if that's an issue with Talkit not trusting them, because like young players, new players, and just trusting like established names in the market more, or I don't know, but that was something different. And yes, Conrad, I do know who Connor Zary is. It was just a, are you kidding me? Like people are group chats going Brock Besser hat trick, Brock Besser hat trick, and yeah, nothing. But yeah, I think we're gonna talk a bit more about the special teams debacle in a second here. Just going to mention one thing first. For the Game Over Network as a whole, we're going to be doing a crowdfunding sort of situation because this is obviously a brand new venture. So if you're looking to support, we do have a Patreon link in the description of all of our content. As well, if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see for giveaways for crowdfunding campaigns, holler at us.
If you want a show of me and Kaja just yelling soccer facts at each other, like that's an option.
Yes, that is an option. If you just want to, I had a message tonight. Is this the Vancouver Canucks or is this Everton? So, that's very niche. I mean, not really niche because of the Premier League, but you get it. Sound off in this chat, in the comments, in the Discord, carrier pigeon, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Let us know if there's anything you'd like to see for crowdfunding. Thank you. All right. Special teams. There were, like I said, Everton is a mess. Yeah, that's the joke. Special teams. We saw a lot of them in the first period and not so much of them in the second and third. Conrad. Period didn't change.
There we go.
Yeah.
No, it's
I changed it. I changed it. I pressed the thing. I did
Good job.
the thing. Okay. Bring back merch. We actually do have merch on our website, so thegameovernetwork.com. Check it out.
It's really cool.
It is really cool. Brady, who was part of our Winnipeg team, he did a great job on it. Conrad, special teams. What was yeah.
Stinky. The Flames power play was the worst part of our season last year. And I understand it's game one. Systems take a while to implement. But in our if you join the Discord, you can see my thoughts, and they were a gif of nuclear waste. So, especially penalty killing in the first, like, I understand you killed a minute and 59 off the first penalty, and then you basically let because I think it was the fourth goal. Yeah, Besser's second goal was like just after a penalty expires, so you've killed off most of the penalty, or you just kill it off and then there's a goal. That's frustrating, but as I said, it's game one. These systems will build over time, and hey, we gave up 2 power play goals, and we also got a shorty, so some give, some take.
Yeah. Zach, our power play seemed very good to start. And then ever since, I guess, Anthony Mantha touches the puck, it kind of went downhill from there. Are you also worried about, I feel like it's Vancouver, we're like natural worriers, we're in an earthquake zone, everything's expensive. This is just another drop in the bucket.
Absolutely. I am, of course, worried about everything, especially after a season start like that. The power play, however, I actually thought there's more good than bad to take away from it tonight. I think that seeing how well they were passing around and how well it was clicking really does make me feel strong about it. The Mantha shorthanded goal was a little bit of a worry for me, because while it was just a case of some unfortunate timing, it was also a bobbled pass by Pettersson that leads to that. And it's one of those things where just can't really happen. It's not a difficult pass to be making. And then, of course, it directly leads to a shorthanded goal. But for me, I don't know, the special teams was definitely not a massive area of concern for me. I thought that Besser looked amazing, as he usually does. I thought that it was an interesting point you made earlier, Kaja, that DeBrusk also kind of floated into the net front position a couple times. If he is able to pick that up, having both him and Besser with expertise in that position would make a super versatile power play, because it means you would be able to have one of them floating depending on which shot you needed in that bumper position. So I do think that is another really good sign. So honestly, I think I saw a lot more good than bad from the power play tonight.
So I'm going to jump in here, and you have a young goaltender in Archer Seelobs. He didn't, we've always called it beaver tailing. He wasn't letting the defender know that Mantha was leaving the box.
The good old clack, 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 clack. Yeah.
He didn't know that Mantha was leaving the box, and obviously you're a professional hockey player. You should kind of be aware of vague timings, and there's enough scoreboards around an NHL arena that there's no excuse not to see a penalty expiring. But at the same time, it's game one, as I said. Just things will build hopefully up from here from both squads.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see that, like, slapping on the ice. I see that in beer league, man. So please, I like how you said, oh yeah, they should know timing, and like, they're hockey players, they get pulled out of high school at like 13, so who knows if they know math. I mean, I'm 21, I don't even know what half an hour is, but that's an ADHD thing. Yeah, special teams, whoa, my camera just unfocused. special teams wise, the penalty kill for the Canucks was pretty decent, which, I mean, at the start of the 2022-23 season, which started similarly like this, I mean, we didn't get to overtime, but we did give up a multi-goal lead. Didn't fight back to tie it. That was the first ever game over Vancouver. How do you think I feel right now? Anyway, yeah, we had the curse. I did feel like that was a good spot for the Canucks, and yeah, overall, the power play, that was a she loves issue. That was a players not knowing how long 2 minutes is issue. It could have been avoided. At the same time, you know what? There was a point. There's 81 games left in the season. I said that last time as well, and then we went 0-7. So, hopefully both teams do better. I believe they can do better, considering there was 11 goals. I think this is the highest scoring game so far this season, correct? Like, I mean, let me see here.
Hey, neither of us lost 6-0. We can lump that all over with Avery.
Never mind. It is not the highest scoring game of the season.
What did we miss?
The Golden Knights defeated the Avalanche 8-4.
Ooh, Oliver Shillington, did you forget how to skate?
The Golden Knights had 21 shots on goal for 8 goals. Georgiev, was it? Oh my gosh. If they just kept him in the entire time. Yeah, at least we didn't lose 6-0. As still 1 of 82, you at least got a point. Exactly. It's 1 point more than they did. Let's see what the save percentage was like for... You know what? I'm gonna look at it. Conrad, why don't you tell us a little bit about Game Over Calgary?
Game Over Calgary, and also the Game On Calgary product will be coming shortly. Those two products, the Game Over Flames is just like this, except it'll be Flames themed, branded. Myself, Peter Klein, Anand, and Matt will be taking you through all 82 Flames home games. And away, we will kick that off with our first Game Over that is just Calgary Flames hosts, as we host the Flyers. That's on Saturday. And then we get something that I think a lot of the Game Over hosts look forward to and kind of jump into the chat for, which is our first Flames versus Oilers Battle of Alberta. Matt will be joining, I don't actually know who's joining us from Edmonton, but those ones are always fun ones because then you get to come talk Battle of Alberta, and who knows, the Oilers could still be tail spinning, but they did that to start last year, and we all know how that one went. So come join myself, Peter, Klein, Anand, and Matt as we take you on a journey of what can be an exciting season if all of the 82 go the same way today went.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just because I want to address chat, Van City Richard with, I think, a great point. Is Vancouver becoming less of a regular season team and more of a playoff team? This is something I was saying in the offseason. I think so. So that's another reason why I'm really not too doom and gloom about tonight. I think that a lot of the strengths the Canucks have are going to be in the playoffs when things are more physical, where there is more to play for than tonight. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, true. And I mean, playoff wise, I don't know. I understand why, like, European fans, European, like, football fans especially, thinks, like, playoffs are stupid because, like, you spend the entire season doing all that work and then it leads to nothing in the playoffs. But, I mean, that's just me being cynical. And totally coping well with the loss tonight.
Yeah, and tell me when Vancouver wins the Supporters Shield in MLS.
Okay.
Sorry,
Alex Georgiev got pulled after the second period. His save percentage was .688.
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about that one moment in the first period. Well, actually, 2 moments, technically. We're talking about player safety because, I mean, the NHL won't, so might as well we do it.
Are you ready to spin the wheel of player safety all season long?
Will
it be one game or will it be maximum allowable fine? Find out tomorrow.
Yeah. Um, Specifically, JT Miller ran into Kevin Rooney of the Flames, who did not return. Um, he was down for quite a while, somewhat in the fencing position, which, if you don't know, is like an automatic response to typically concussions or head trauma. Is arms go in a way that it's not like basically controlled.
Think Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
That's the most
Um,
recent.
yeah, that was a big one. Basically, you're not in control of your arms; they just kind of go. Um, so that was a scary moment. Apparently, some fans were chanting. Well, you could hear it on the broadcast, not apparently, but apparently it was just one section of fans who probably might not have seen the hit, or was it bad? It's debatable. About if they saw the hit. Obviously, the hit was bad because he got injured. Like they're chanting JT Miller while
I don't
when
know
he
if it's
was down.
necessarily a bad hit.
Yeah,
I it's that argument of, does Kevin Rooney unfortunately put himself in a dangerous position while trying to play the puck? Yes, it goes between his legs. He kind of starts to twist. He's on one skate blade and then gets leveled with, in my opinion, a heavy borderline hit. But we'll have to see what Department of Player Safety says, because every time I watch one of those videos, I kind of shrug and being like, what makes a player in a defenseless position? How long do they have to be in a defenseless position for that to be irrelevant? I
yeah.
I just never like hearing fans chanting when a player is still down on the ice.
Yeah, that was not a good look. It
Yeah,
was
your team or theirs. There should be a level of respect for the athletes for sure.
like even if it's like even if it's a playoff game, even if it's a rivalry, it doesn't I don't know.
I can't remember Flames fan chanting when Dan Cloutier got injured in the playoffs back in '04. That might be going a little bit back in the memory banks for some people.
I don't think I was conscious. Anyway, oh 04. That oh. Um yeah, I don't know. It seemed very like Mets Phillies to me right now when that happened because they literally did that like 2 days ago. But yeah. Anyway, rip the Phillies. Um, yeah, JT Miller. He didn't
And then
even.
and then there was the fight, and
Yeah, he didn't
like
even get a penalty for the hit too, which I mean, like, it wasn't really a bad hit. Um, like in the category of illegal hits, it was not an illegal hit. At the same time, it did not have a good outcome, and yeah, it was a dangerous position, but also like it's kind of ridiculous that that's a big factor when it comes to like it's like you're blaming the person that got hit.
in
Like
our knife shoe sport.
yeah, in our knife shoe sport with a rubber disc that at one point was made out of cow poop. Like that's it was frozen cow poop way back in the day. When you're getting 218 pounds of JT Miller pushed against you into the boards, it's probably not going to feel good, especially if you're in that position. I don't know. Like, yeah, sure, he could have been twisted a little bit more differently. At the same time, eh, like, it's not, it's legal, but it doesn't look good. Zach?
No, I agree entirely. I think that the assessment of it being a borderline hit was pretty accurate. Just one of those hits in hockey where it's a really hard hit on a player that is unfortunately in a dangerous position. That's not entirely the fault of the hitter. I don't know. I think they got the call on the ice right. I am interested to see whether DOPS has anything to say about it. I personally doubt they will. But obviously wishing the best for Rooney's recovery. Because yeah, that was a pretty scary situation.
Yeah, like, especially, and then like they always talk about how it's like eerily quiet in those moments when like a player goes down with an injury, especially a head injury, or especially when they stay down for a while. But the arena's just playing As It Was by Harry Styles, and I thought that was a weird song choice. Just in, like, I know it's a bit calming and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, how about you just like hold off on the GJ for like a second until he gets up. And then he got up on his own feet, which I mean is good to see, but at the same time, like I don't know if that's should be promotional for like instances of head trauma.
Yeah, like especially when you're already have the stretcher halfway out on the ice, maybe just say, "Hey, I understand you want to look like an athlete, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe just take the stretcher." Especially rumor from Flames reporters who are in Vancouver is that he is still under observation in a Vancouver area hospital. So not great.
Yeah.
But I have a question for both of you guys as Vancouver fans. You saw Anthony Mantha try and step up and say we need to account for this in the hockey way, and that would lead to the penalty that led to the 3-0 goal. Should JT have answered the bell off the get-go? For the first
I'll
time he's offered.
I'll say I like the idea of players stepping up. I know that it's a kind of old school mentality to be like, oh, hockey code, this and that, but it is one of those things where it is very ingrained in the sport that if you take out someone, especially if the hit isn't necessarily super squeaky clean, that you do kind of have to answer the bell. And he did eventually, because again, it is kind of the done thing. And I think that way you just again take out the risk of anyone trying to do anything too retaliatory. If you drop the gloves, answer the bell right away, then the two teams kind of have it say like, okay, it's done and dusted, we'll move on. Whether you don't want to be, continuously chased all game because we've seen rare, but we've seen, especially here in Vancouver, where retaliatory situations can get out of hand like that. So I think that you do just want to have, yeah, drop the gloves. In the end, all's well that ends well. He did, but yeah, old school mentality. But I think that it just makes it safer in the end.
I mean, I'm very like we should probably phase out of this whole thing, but I understand that it's a part of the sport. At the same time, like I understand having like a bounty or a target on your head because of a hit like that. At the same time, just leave
Does
it.
what does one brain injury warrant another? Like that's
Exactly. Like there's a reason why they like ban fighting in specific junior hockey leagues. Not all of them, but some of them. Or get
well, and
some.
they're phasing it back in because of the Western Development Model. Yay.
Are they?
Um
I didn't hear that in the queue.
in the AJ and lower levels they
Oh,
are
oh, okay,
reducing
okay.
suspensions. But
Yes, I'm aware of this.
um eventually Math and Miller do go toe to toe. Both of them, let's call it a split decision in the fight. Um but they both get the Gordie Howe hat trick, so yeah.
That was probably the best outcome of that. The parents do the fighting in junior hockey.
You say that
That
like
is
you've been to
true.
an AJHL arena.
I don't willingly go to Alberta all that often, I'm gonna be honest.
That's
Um,
that's fair.
I think last time I was there, I was like 7. Parents do the fighting in junior hockey. I actually have not witnessed that. Now I'm interested.
I don't know if Audie's still around, but he can probably attest that some of the Calgary
I'll
Drumheller
vouch to this.
games.
Although I'll
Vouch?
vouch to
Okay.
there are some parents that can get pretty active, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen some of it, but not like anything that I've been like, okay, this is happening. It's usually just I just turn around and walk away. Anyway, yeah. And then also the 3-0 goal. Vladar had no mask on, which is allowed because it only stops the play if there's an imminent scoring chance. If there's not an imminent scoring chance, which I feel like is the opposite of what you want to do in that situation.
Yeah, let's have Dan Vladar throw his body to try and make a stop because Vancouver is threatening to score.
Mm-hmm. Like,
And I joked kind of in my notes because it happened again in the second period where Dan Vladar lost his glove and tried to get a whistle, and luckily the puck went into the corner. Whistle went quickly. But this is kind of the thing. Our goalies knocking their masks off intentionally to get whistles. Like, this is the unfortunate part of our game right now.
That is, I think, what the argument is for not changing that rule, and it's tough because I do get it both ways. On one hand, you so don't want a goaltender trying to make saves in a league where players can slap shot it 100 miles an hour and they don't have a mask. That could end really, really badly. But of course, I do also understand how you could, as a goaltender, try to do some sneaky things, loosen a strap here or there. And so the NHL doesn't want to change that ruling. It's tough. It's one of the few arguments where I'm still very undecided on, because I think there are some really fair points to be made both sides. On one hand, yes, you really do want players to be safe. But on the other hand, I think that if you do change the rule, I think there are going to be situations where you see goaltenders trying to take advantage of it.
I think there have been like situations of that. I don't remember what goalie it was, but I believe there.
I Big Save Dave is notorious for
Yes.
shaking his head, and that
Yes.
mask will go flying. He did it in Calgary. He did it in Winnipeg. I'm sure now that he's apparently the starter in Los Angeles, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
about to say where is he playing?
Oh, you're going to see a lot of Riddick.
yeah.
I
So
still remember that one time when he was in Nashville starting, the year that Colorado won the cup and they swept Nashville in the first round, and it was the playoffs, and he ran directly into the goalpost trying to grab, like,
Yeah, and then fell over.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was a
Mhm.
funny moment.
yeah,
Uh,
but I'm just looking at my wristwatch, and this might be a good time to ask if there are any questions in the comments.
yes, for sure. I was gonna mention one more thing about the whole, yeah.
We can get the comments going a little
Get the
bit
comments
early.
going, yeah. Get your questions in, and then for our little overtime period, as we would like to call it over here. Kaya, please don't remind me of that year. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. If it makes you feel any better, my little internalized prediction for the season was actually, if there's a question about that, I'll save it for later, but my internalized prediction for conference finals is favorable to the Preds. Let's just say that. I do think that the rule with like the glove and stuff off, I thought that it was interesting that he's like trying to get the refs' attention, because the same thing happened to Demko a couple years ago against the Rangers. And he was like, "Oh, this big save, and he's doing all this. He got like a scorpion up there, and it's like lauded." And this is like, I feel like goalie's safety should be taken a little bit more, because they're physically getting it shot at them. It's not like they're choosing to like jump in and block a shot. That's their job, is to get hit with with pieces of rubber at 100 miles per hour. Um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like in both those situations, the helmet, I understand it's gonna come off. I think that for every goalie except for David Riddick, then that rule should be written out. But just for him, he gets that specialty rule. He's like the Sean Avery of goaltenders. It feels like
Is this the Chronicles of Riddick?
the Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah. Um. All right. Before we get into our last like segment, just put some questions in the chat, comments, anything off top. Literally, could ask me what my dog's favorite color is.
I'm
Gray.
surprised Audie isn't in chat, just like asking me random AJ questions like I did to him all year last year.
Yeah. So, just sound off. But before we get into answering them, gonna give a shout out to our friends at Game Over Ottawa, the only Canadian team that did not play today. So, go subscribe over to Game Over Ottawa. You can find it on the Game Over Network channel, also on our channel. Also, just search Game Over Ottawa. You can find it. Charlie and Maud did a fantastic job of doing a lot of content, and they're both back, fortunately, for Game Over. Both amazing people, both amazing presenters, both amazing hosts. Like, wow.
And shout out to them for creating all the intros videos for all these streams. If you like the new intros with all the retro TV theming, they
And
absolutely killed it.
all the
graphics.
introductions for the host too on social media was also Maud.
That was Maud.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, a little bit of Game Over. Maud and I are doing a lot of the social stuff, and Maud is absolutely, like, she's amazing. She's a rock star. I'm just kind of there making pictures of Moodang. Like, that's my contribution. So anyway, subscribe to Game Over Ottawa. They're getting started soon. It's gonna be a blast. They got some new people joining as well, along with the Game On programming. So yeah, check out Game Over Ottawa. And
And Kaya, do you mind if I say one thing before we head to the overtime period?
yes.
Obviously, this is a tough season for Flames fans with the events that transpired over the summer. I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone that's here on this program and everyone that's across the Game Over network. To say we appreciate and love the careers and lives of Matthew and Johnny Gaudreau. If you haven't watched it yet, Peter put out a very touching video just after the passing about the two young men that we lost. As you can see, well, actually, you probably can't see with the crop. Over my right shoulder, I will constantly have a memorial of Johnny in Calgary. And I think I speak for everyone at the network in saying we have our thoughts and prayers with the Gaudreau family for closure that should come. And obviously, we look to celebrate both of their lives as the season goes on.
Thank you, Conrad. Yes, very important to mention. Yeah,
First Flames game without him.
yeah.
It was tough seeing that video. I every time they do it, I tear up. And I don't know if you guys saw Dustin Wolf unveiled a new back panel to his mask that has Johnny with the purple Gatorade and Skittles on it. So
And a little bowl of plain pasta too, right?
yeah,
Like I saw that as well. Yeah, that was really nice touch.
yeah. So
I was
big,
thinking of Merzlikins' mask, I just realized.
yeah. No, Merzlikins has
That's
the
what I'm
plain
thinking of.
pasta,
Yeah,
but
That's
yeah,
what I'm thinking of.
Wolfie has a bunch of and it's got the memorial kind of down the
Yeah.
stairs of the Saddle Dome. But let's head into some of these questions. I see one that's directed to me, but a lot directed towards Kaya's dog's favorite color.
Oh, I don't actually know that answer. I would assume what Zach said was it was gray. I don't know. He really likes tennis balls, so I'm gonna go yellow. Harrison, if you're watching this, please correct me. But he's probably not watching. He's probably asleep right now. Yeah, it's past his bedtime. I like this one from Tokai #1. How many points is Everton getting deducted this year? Which, for those who don't follow the Premier League or English football, it's Everton gets deducted points somehow a lot. So it's a running joke of how many it's a running joke of something in the world happens, deduct 10 points from Everton. The Canucks lost in overtime, deduct 10 points from Everton. Basically that.
Well, at least you have an owner. I have a friend who's a Reading fan, and that's always so sad.
Yeah, I have a friend that's a Cambridge fan, and I don't think they have not won at all this season. So I feel he'll message me. I'll message him about a bad result for the Whitecaps or Canucks or something, and he's just like, imagine how I feel. Yeah, could be worse. He could be a Wolves fan. Oof. Anyway, from VolBill99 or Billy. Can the Flames be a sneaky playoff team? Conrad, I'm gonna let you handle that one.
I hope not. So, for those of you who don't follow the Flames trades the way I do, the Flames need to finish in the bottom 10 in the NHL this year. The conditions on the Sean Monahan trade is if the Flames finish in the bottom 10 in the NHL, that pick just goes away. It doesn't get deferred. It goes away. So, the Flames need to be in the bottom 10 in the NHL by hook or by crook. So, if that means somehow finding a way to send Jonathan Huberdeau, who goes back to a point-a-game form, we have to send him to Robidas Island somehow, we need to find a way. I don't predict that to happen for Jonathan Huberdeau, for him to return to his Florida Panthers form. But, if that means trading everything that's not nailed down at the deadline, that's what the Flames need to do.
I kind of like Tanya Harding him or something.
I'm not promoting that, but if he somehow pulls a Rasmus Anderson and gets on an e-scooter and gets hit by someone in Detroit.
I forgot about that.
Do you guys forget that happened last
No,
year?
I remember that. That was such a crazy story when it came out. He got hit by a car.
This team is legitimately cursed, so I'm pretty sure it would be from the curse.
Yeah. I'll also say that this is shaping up to be a very strong draft class, and with how many good young players Calgary already has in the ranks, if they have a bad year this year, it could very much be a retool instead of a rebuild, and they could be competitive again soon. But I think you're right, that it's imperative. It's shaking your
We
head.
we are going for Gavin McKenna. We need the next Bedard. So I've
I think
watched.
James
So
Higgins might go first.
that's fine. We'll take the number 2 pick and take Gavin. I got to see Gavin McKenna up close at when he was a 15-year-old player playing in the Circle K Classic, formerly known as the Max Midget Tournament, and he was dancing around 18-year-olds in that tournament. So I really want to see him, or if we can be bad for like let's call it 5 years, let's get some Calgary native Landon DuPont as well in on this roster, and let's just become the next Oilers and turn all of our first overall picks into actual Stanley Cups.
Well,
Nail
well,
Yakupov, you are a Calgary Flame.
Oh, let's Avery
Um,
will probably hate me for everything I'm saying today.
Fail for Nail, let's go.
um, oh God. Yeah, I didn't even think that they need. I forgot about the Monahan trade, to be honest, because it feels like since the Flames, he's been on 5 different teams. So that's what I feel. I thought the Flames could be a sneaky playoff team. I don't really. For your sake, Conrad, I hope they aren't. But that's also just because I don't want the LA Kings to be in the playoffs this year. So I think that's more of like my. I don't see them as a playoff team. I don't think they should have been there the last few years. Aren't you rebuilding? Like
They've had some pretty big frauds in goal over the last
they
few
make me so
seasons.
mad. They make me so mad. Anyway, they've made me mad since 2012. Like I have um yeah, I just don't want to see them succeed. Anyway, that's a
Yeah,
joke.
not a fan
So,
of the Masta from Alaska, Phoenix Copley.
oh, okay, he has a cool name, so like I
He
give him a
does.
pass. Like my issue is like I love goalies, so I can never hate on a goalie.
He's from somewhere cold. He has to be good at hockey.
I know. Well,
Is that why all of these northern boys, Connor Bedard and Gavin
Connor
McKenna,
Bedard
are
is
both so
not
good?
northern. He's from West Van.
No, he's from here. He lives a few blocks from me.
I thought he was
North
born.
Van.
North Van. Same
Didn't he get
thing.
raised? Didn't he get raised in? No, it's just McKenna who was raised
Yeah,
in the Yukon.
I can confirm Connor Bedard went to my elementary school here in North Van.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll take that then. I know what high school Archdeep Baines went to. I didn't go to it, but he went to one. I've been there. Um, I haven't been inside there. I've walked a dog near there. Anyway, um,
Anyone have a favorite moment in history class?
I found out that Nova Scotia used to be called Nova Scarcity when English settlers, after the American Revolutionary War and America was no longer English, they had to kick all the English people out, so they got shoved into what was then British Canada, because British territory. They got shoved into the Maritimes. One of the places was Nova Scotia, and because they didn't think they were getting adequate land, because of course colonization, they were complaining, and instead of calling it Nova Scotia, they called it Nova Scarcity.
I was gonna say coloring maps, so that's a much better
Oh,
answer.
coloring in all the islands of Nunavut.
Yeah. Oh,
I have,
yeah.
oh yeah, I have a minor in history, so like that's why I'm like
Nice.
I know this. Well, I don't have a minor yet. I need one more class, but I'm almost there. Uh,
So my favorite is the fact that Hawaii only became a state because Dole wanted it. Capitalism.
I
I'll
feel
give
like
another.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. I was gonna say I'll give another slightly Hawaii-related fact, and that's that Hawaiian pizza was invented by a Greek man in Canada.
And that's why Italians hate it, because
It has nothing to do with them.
it has nothing to do with them, but we place all the blame on them anyway.
Oh, of course.
Um,
And maybe one last one here from Casey Elizabeth. A bold prediction for the season? Player, team, anything?
this is where I'm dropping my conference finals picks. I was gonna say Eastern Conference was Canes and well, initially it was Leafs.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's alright. Yeah.
Something in my throat.
And it initially that's what it was. I'm not confident in that anymore. I just 1-0.
Goaltending. Goaltending.
Yeah, Joseph Wall is made of glass. And then
Again, I
Western.
said, can I interest you in one lightly used Dan's Vladar?
To be fair, Stolarz was pretty good in that game.
Yeah, he won a cup. I mean, like.
Oh yeah.
I think he did. 1-0 is not like that's an insane game. Montembeault, hats off to you. You deserve every Canadian.
Berube's
team pick.
first game as a Leafs head coach going really well.
Oh wow, yeah, he's like evil Sheldon Keefe. Like in my mind, like he is. If Sheldon Keefe is Mario, then Craig Berube is Wario. Like in my mind. Anyway, was Utah Canes for Stanley Cup final because of Bettman. I think
Wow.
the Canes have a good chance, but also, like, I was gonna say New York was off to a steamer, but again, they were playing the Penguins, so.
So my hot take, friend of the Game Over family, Mike Gould might hate me for this one, but I think that Utah is not going to be a wild card team because they are going to make the playoffs without relying on the wild card.
I love that actually. I'll jump right here. I love that pick. I do think they'll be a wild card team, but I think they're making the playoffs. I agree with that entirely. I like that. Not as a wild card. That is a pretty bold prediction though. For myself, I'm gonna go out east. Fellow, Game Over Network. The Ottawa Senators are making the playoffs. I know that it's a super tough division out there. 7 teams fighting for those spots. It is happening. This is the year for the Senators to make the postseason.
No, you know what? I think the Buffalo wins the cup. Conrad?
I just want Kaya, can we just bask in the glory that would be Ottawa, Florida, first round?
Oh,
Get
good.
the Kachuk off in the first round.
It would be amazing. I would love that.
That would Amazon's gonna eat that up for season 2.
The Department of Player Safety will be working overtime.
The Department of Player Safety will not eat that up. They will throw it out. No,
they'll fine it
leftovers.
$3,000.
Just the idea of it. So we're up to 28,000 on the stream. I think Utah probably does make the playoffs. Potentially. I don't know. I think Seattle makes the playoffs, but then again, their first game was not great. I just want to see Seattle and Vancouver in the playoffs together against each other. Yes.
And congrats to Jessica Campbell as well. First female coach in the NHL. That's awesome.
Yeah. And to all of the people on TikTok saying, "Book talk, get your ideas here." No, shut up.
I saw that.
Shut
good
up.
Lord.
Shut
Good
up.
Lord.
This is what is wrong with this is why they're
This is why
banning
we need to
TikTok.
gatekeep hockey.
No, okay,
It's-
I'm all for new fans. At the same time, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah.
Before we go, I'm just gonna give the Audie James version of this. Guys, the algorithm sucks. We all know it. If you hit that thumbs up button down below before we head out, please hit like. A reminder, this is the Game Over Vancouver stream. Give them a follow. As well, head on over to Game Over Flames. You'll see a lot more of me, Peter, Klein, Matt, and Anand. And eventually we'll have these Vancouver fans back over to our stream. And who knows, maybe we'll go to overtime again. You guys can have the extra point next time. It's like a divorce settlement where you get 2 Christmases.
Damn, I haven't gotten that yet.
I know, neither have I. But
A divorce settlement or 2 Christmases?
2 Christmases! My parents cheated me out of that one. Anyway.
yeah, damn them for having a loving relationship.
Oh. No, I just didn't get the 2.
Okay.
That's
So,
why my
with
background
that-
looks different. Anyway.
With that trauma dump. Oh, don't worry. We had multiple of those in the fireside chat gathering earlier. But thank you for letting me invade your territory here for the crossover of Game Over Vancouver.
It was awesome to get to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, we both at least get 1 point, right?
yeah. Even though it should be split differently, but that's just me. The PWHL does it better with points. It's so anyway.
We're soccer fans. We understand that 3 points matter.
3 points matters. Why is it 2 and 1? That makes no sense because and then it's like, oh.
Or let's go to 3 points in regulation, 2 points overtime.
Exactly. Anyway, that's just I'm gonna do a whole other podcast just on that. My wild card was
Oh no, you didn't do the West.
Vancouver, Nashville. That's what I thought it was gonna be.
Wow.
I'm bold. I want Vancouver to make the conference final. I don't think they make it out of it, but Vancouver has never gotten to the conference final and lost in the conference final. So there's
History.
that. Yeah, history. History of yeah. My
At least
brain's
we've
done.
got 88.
We
All right.
oh god. All right. Yeah. And we don't even have a cup because the millionaires don't count. The millionaires do not count.
1915, my favorite year.
19
I love 1915.
You love World War One?
That was
Okay.
13 years before sliced bread was invented. So yeah,
Hey
it does
guys,
not
make
count.
make sure to check out all of the rest of the Game Over Nation. Obviously, check out the Sens tomorrow as they are the last of our markets to get to go live. Do you guys know when's your next show?
Friday. Friday after the Flyers game.
Yeah,
It's gonna
you've
be
got the Flyers, then we've got them the next night.
Yes.
Can you beat up those silly orange and black jerseys?
No, but I want John Tortorella to take another picture of the wall he had them make. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be me and Mark on the show for Vancouver. It's another introduction to the new faces for the channel. But yeah, it'll be Friday, when we play the Flyers. Tune in.
And then Saturday over on Game Over Flames, or Calgary, rather. It's me and a nod, so 2 new faces, and you'll get to meet another one of our squad.
Why is Vancouver like the only team that does not play on Saturday? What the heck? Anyway.
You guys get Friday. You're like the only Canadian team doing Friday.
No. Winnipeg.
Well, does Winnipeg really exist?
True.
Well, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I heard they had a show tonight, but it was on Edmonton's channel, so you never know. Subscribe to all the Game Over shows. I've been Kaja Antic, with Conrad Krausert and Zach Clark. This has been Game Over Vancouver. The Vancouver Canucks lost 6-5 in overtime to the Calgary Flames. Game 1 of 82. Like the video. Ty from Game Over Winnipeg is not liking our comment about Winnipeg maybe not existing. Hey, better than Wyoming. Thank you for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe if you're listening to this on podcast platform. Please share, give a 5-star review. Yeah, that's been Game Over Vancouver for the first time on the Game Over Network, on its own channel. So thank you for joining us, and yeah, have a great night, everybody.